Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of Tips from TTO with our favorite expert on accounting and payroll services, Megan Walder. Good morning.
Good morning.
And it is a fabulous morning.
It is.
Are you sure?
It is the last day of the unofficial official tax season. It is May 17th, so if you have not filed your tax return, you better get that done or an extension.
It just goes like this. Bummer.
But exactly. So yes, we are. I don't want to say that Greg is winding down, but he'll definitely be taking a couple of days off after this. So
it's funny. Justin and I, we were working out at the ballpark yesterday for with Red Earth, and we were doing our weekend stuff with Game 7, and it was funny because we drove over here. It was about 6 o'clock? Yeah, it was about 6 o'clock, and I was like, well, there he is.
Yeah, he's
finishing up.
Yeah,
because our offices are closed, guys.
Yes, they're right across the street. So yeah, he has been what he likes to call slaving away, but he's wrapping things up and filing those necessary extensions. So if you haven't done it, definitely reach out to your local accountant. Reach out to the tax office or get that extension filed so you don't get any of those late penalties and fines and whatnot. So yeah, those can get pretty ugly pretty quick.
Today we're going to start off with Megan threw a few statistics at me, and I like statistics. You got this from Forbes?
Yeah, Forbes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. As a small business owner, 54% of U.S. sales come from micro and small business. Now, small business is anything with 500 employees or less.
Yes.
So to me, that becomes very, I think small. It's more SMB.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Small to medium business. Because 500 employees, that ain't small.
That is, yeah, that's a lot
medium.
of employees.
And anything above that is large and then enterprise.
Yes, enterprise and whatnot, global.
So, but then you have, we've started this, and it's a term that's used. It's not as
popular.
No.
It's
because
not.
We still like to go, it's mom and pop and stuff like that. It's micro business. And I use that terminology a lot, micro business, because it's relevant and it fits into that category of you right around 20 employees or less. Mm-hmm. So you have small to medium business, SMBs, and you have micro business. And this is what we're dealing with here. And 54%, over half of the U.S. sales comes from this.
From your mom and pop that everybody keeps talking about. But it is. Micro businesses, small businesses, and even some of your medium-sized businesses, we make up 54% of the U.S. sales.
And it's funny to me, and I'm not, politics to me is sometimes a very useless
conversation.
Yeah, because I just, the rhetoric becomes nonsensical most of the time. But what I don't like is how at the federal level we're trying to take and just put more restraints on.
Regulations is the word used typically from a federal standpoint. Regulations on what?
Thank you. I couldn't think of the
word. Absolutely. Regulations is, every administration either puts more regulations on or takes regulations off, whatever side you're on. But that really puts constraints on, us small businesses and micro businesses. Mm-hmm. And so,
and what's happened recently. Can we say we're no longer in a pandemic? I believe that.
We're not.
The numbers show it. Quit saying we're in it. I know the CDC has recently come out and said we don't have to wear a mask indoors. I haven't been wearing a mask indoors the whole time.
Right.
I haven't worn a mask outdoors the whole time, and I'm not afraid to say those things. If people don't like that, good. That's up to you. If you choose to, fine. I'm not worried about that.
Exactly.
That's your choice. When have we not done these things? And this is and I'm saying these things because I believe we have been adversely affected at the micro business level because of these things.
Oh, absolutely.
And because of the extreme government intervention.
Yes, the measurements of control and
Yeah.
what has been allowed by small businesses and micro businesses. Understandable if you choose to go that direction.
Yeah.
We're not saying anything about it. It's your business.
It's your business. That's the thing. And if people, why don't we just respect people?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's the key.
And we've
to
said
it.
that a lot on here.
Yes.
You respect somebody else's decisions, somebody else's choice, whether you are for those restrictions or whether you're not for those restrictions.
We have the ability to make decisions.
Yes.
I'm
Logic.
a reasonable individual. I am an adult. I run a business. I have family. I have 2 kids that are grown that work for me. And, we all sit and talk. They do pretty well. They're very successful people in their own right. Mm-hmm. When can we make our own decisions, and how do we make our own decisions? And these are the things that we have to look at. And right here, it shows you that 54% of U.S. sales comes from these types of people.
Yeah.
So that, to me, is a very clear picture of what America was built on.
What America was built on, passion and hard work, and the ability to make those decisions, get out there and struggle for a little while. It doesn't hurt someone to struggle to get somewhere. You don't meet, these billionaires out here and these big conglomerates out there that everybody knows. You talk to the owners, the ones that started these businesses. It was rough for a while.
Right.
You don't hear stories of, success in America or anywhere that they didn't struggle for a minute. That this wasn't tough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
builds character.
the Missouri State Legislature, get involved, understand what's going on. I say this every time, get involved in your local and state governments, understand what's happening locally, what's happening at the state level. That's where you should be. That's what you should understand. And it will help you a lot in how you make decisions.
Right. And something that we talked about, we all know what's going on at the federal level. And, everything rolls downhill. But if the right people are in the right places in our state, they can head some of that off. So, making sure you're staying involved and talking to your local and state representatives and senators, it's stay involved, especially as a small business.
Absolutely.
We've seen the biggest impact through all of this.
And as we're talking about this, Meg, you also put on here that micro, small, medium business is the largest employer in the United States.
In the United States. We as small businesses employ 58.9 million of the U.S. citizens here. So we are not, I don't want to come off, you can't hide. You can't slither back. You can't give up, because we do make up 54% of the sales. We do make up 58.9% of the workforce. That's huge.
That is pretty huge.
It is. That's not chump change. And we have a voice.
58.9% is a lot of people in the United States. And recently we can talk about this. And as we're talking about employees and what that comes down to with our micro businesses in this area, everybody's trying to hire right now.
There's hiring signs everywhere. And we're talking not... I was made a comment the other day to Greg over the tax office. I said, I would love to have $12 an hour when I was 19, 20, 21, freshly on my own, had my own apartment. I was making $8 an hour. $12 an hour, that's a pretty good chunk of change.
And the tough thing is...
So, everybody's hiring. Oh,
yeah. But the tough thing is, and we understand this, there are inflationary rates and whatnot.
It does. It happens,
but that's a whole different discussion. We're not going to get into that. I remember I made $12.50 when I was 19.
When you were 19,
I was working,
yeah.
I was going to school. I was paying my own way through college. Mm-hmm. I worked for Ralph's Grocery Company there, and I had good wage.
Yeah, but you had to work for it. It had to work,
I worked.
Yeah, you worked
I
up.
worked hard.
Yeah, exactly. Hard work definitely pays off.
And I did, but I started out at minimum wage.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So there again, we have all of these issues that we're dealing with. Let's look at the state and local right now. the state just rescinded all the unemployment benefits,
Yes,
right?
they
the
did.
Extra, I should
the
say.
The extra, yes. Yeah. So you do qualify for unemployment due to whatever situation that you might be in. Say that your job is still available, but they're not bringing you on full time. They might be offering you 20 hours. The state of Missouri said there's going to be no additional federal compensation. The state of Missouri will still continue to pay out unemployment if you're in one of those situations.
Right.
But it is time to get back to work, folks. It is time to get back to work.
There are jobs out there.
It is unreal how many jobs are out there.
Go back to work.
Yes.
And I understand, and this is the thing. I will tell you, I am fiscally conservative. That's just me.
Yep.
That's a thought process.
Capitalism.
I look at budgets.
Great.
I look at budgets. We budget here at Red Earth Productions. We have a budget that we follow, and otherwise spending gets out of control.
It gets out of control.
Oh, wait a minute.
What?
$28 trillion?
It does. I don't think that our fearless leaders up there are following any type of budget, and we laugh, but it
doesn't seem like it.
No, it's true, and you can look at top to bottom. Those practices have to be in place, and the budgeting piece is so important to knowing where you're at, where you're going, where you want to be. It's that financial plan that has to be set in place. We were kidding earlier that most small businesses, most micro or medium-sized businesses don't have a budget, which is fine. So when we do have clients come in,
it's not fine. It's not really fine,
right,
Meg.
Where I was going to that is if you don't have one in place, you bring your accounting in, we get you, we find out where you're at. We'll get you a budget in place because it's very important for the, we laugh about it, but it is very important to have accounting practices and budgets in place.
Because we talk about employees, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's the biggest expense of any business?
Payroll taxes and payroll expenses. Payroll expenses in general, the taxes that you pay, insurance, what type of benefits you give, that is your number one expense.
Labor.
Absolutely, yes. He said labor. I gave you the definition. Yes,
right?
Labor, absolutely. Labor in general. And labor is not just, I'm bringing on a $12 an hour employee and I'm going to give him a check every week. There's so much more that goes on to it. Yeah. And so a budget helps you break those pieces out and what it's actually going to cost you to have one employee.
Right.
And then, if you got to multiply that, whatnot. But that one employee can cost you more than just that $400 a week paycheck.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you don't think about it that way.
And I think that's the difficulty is, if you're unprepared for that and you're busy and you're getting going and whatnot and you're missing this, you miss a payroll tax payment. It's not fun, is it?
No, it's not. It is not. We get those scary IRS letters all the time. And sometimes they'll send them to, hey, you missed, we're talking 1 day late. That can cost you up to $150, $200 when you're 1 to 2 days late on that tax payment. So, and those are rough numbers and whatnot. But
it depends on the size.
It depends on the size
right?
of the business, the percentages and whatnot. But we're talking 150. Who's got an extra $150? To throw the IRS.
But even if you do, what does that take away from your ability to run your business over here or over here or over here?
Where does that money have to come from?
Do you take it out of your advertising?
Absolutely.
Do you take it out of the purchase of equipment, or cost of goods sold, or whatever you're doing?
The money has to come from somewhere. Just like we talked on the last episode, that the money has to come from somewhere. So when you're hiring someone, really taking into consideration that, hiring in general, I talk about this all the time. It has always been a beast. It was in the restaurant industry for years, and it's just a beast. And nobody wants to talk about it, but it is a real, legit concern when you are hiring somebody. What is that going to cost you? And can you keep them for a long time? Retention is huge.
Employee retention, right?
How do you keep those employees happy?
And Meg, that
engaged.
And that goes to the point, we hear human resources all the time. Right?
Yeah.
But that goes to what I think the greatest percentage, you have two factors really on a large scale, you have some of these companies, human resources are usually just dealing with legal issues and things of that nature.
Employee complaints, unfortunately.
Yeah. The second one is employee retention.
How do you keep employees? Because the cost of hiring an employee is one expense. Losing an employee and having to hire another one is an additional. Those are two different expenses, and companies look at that. So the retention, that's, when I first started in the workforce, you really didn't have handbooks and you didn't have human resources. And over the course of 15 years, you saw so many programs and things that popped up to help keep your employees satisfied with pay and the work environment and management teams and how to be better at keeping your employees on. And right now, I think about what's going on with, your bigger corporations and really focusing in on small businesses and those hiring practices that are you talking to your teams? Right now, we're being bombarded with social media and internet and all of those things. And it can be scary out there with, the unemployment rates and finding a job and whatnot. And are you talking to your employees? Are you having those weekly conversations with them saying, hey, just so you know, we're not closing. We're going to be open. We're having to do this. We're having to do this. Keeping in constant communication. I think that was the one thing that I found with my employees is they always felt better when we had those conversations or we had those meetings, just to keep them in the loop, keep them in the know. Hey, we're doing good, but we're having to do this, this is what's coming up. And they feel engaged. They feel part of the team. They feel that you care about their well-being. So in return, that loyalty is going to build. So very big on communication with team, especially right now with the internet and social media. And it's scary out there for some. It really is.
There you go, folks.
Yeah.
I think that it continues to be one of the top conversations, in my opinion, especially right now.
I have those conversations with my clients all the time.
Keeping, how are we going to move that forward? How do we keep our business open with employees, the right employees?
Right, yeah.
Budgeting, all these factors. And this is why the tax office, this is why they're there. This is why they deal with accounting. And this is why they deal with payroll. This is why they deal with tax preparation. All these factors are so important to your business.
They really are.
And how you keep it moving. And it's funny because sometimes it's hard to correlate all those things together. But the reality, how does accounting affect my employees?
My employees. Oh, it does. Accounting, making sure you have the money in that particular account to pay them.
Exactly. And dealing with those things and where's that and how do I keep my employee moving forward? How do I keep is my business growing to meet the challenges of keeping and retaining the staff that I want.
That you want.
Working for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I think those are all real. Great stuff. Always the good conversation.
We try.
Always
try
good.
to keep you engaged.
Exactly. So hey, folks, if you're looking for some advice, some opportunity to talk through some things, give the tax office a call. 636-926-7511.
Absolutely. You got it.
I just rattled that right off, right?
Nobody knows phone numbers anymore. I'm pretty sure that might be the only number I know.
You can also go to the website. Great information there. The resource page, the resource center there on their website, all chock full of information, helpful information, forms, wherever you want to go. The IRS.
If you want to go there, call us first, though.
Yeah. So great stuff. TheTaxOffice.com. Everybody have a great day in the Lord, and we'll see you next time.